I don't know. Like, someone that had a huge impact on me was Brad Thorn. You know, it would be good not to be the oldest player in the squad as well. So if we get him back, it would be nice. You know, he was brilliant for us when he came in, and was a big part of us lifting that third European Cup at the time. You know, he was huge, and obviously someone like Scott Fardy, who's you know, had such a huge, and he's only just gone, but you know, in and around the place, you miss him. You miss his personality and his leadership, and so yeah, take your pick, one of those two.
George Smith.
Didn't even have to think about it.
No, listen, I've been really fortunate to coach a lot of very talented rugby players, but I'd have to say George would be right up there with the best I've seen. And he just had a capacity to change a game when he was on the field. So I don't know George is probably 40 now, but he'd still be able to put on a 7 jersey and do pretty damn well, I'd imagine. So yeah, and that's not been disparaging to anyone else that I've coached, but George would have to be the standout.
Richie McCaw was pretty handy.
He was all right.
Yeah. Dan Carter's not too bad. Brad Thorn for me. Those are probably three All Black guys that I think are pretty good. But you know, it's hard to go past Aurélien Rougerie, you know, club legend. You know, his spirit that he had here would be pretty inspirational for our current group. You know, the Brian O'Driscoll to Leinster. Well, this guy's that of ASM. You know, he's an iconic player, and you know, someone that is got their place in history, absolutely. But that's probably the player. The impact that I think he had on the group was at the end of his career. His body, as I say, he played 400 odd games. His body started to feel all of those games. But every time he laced on the boots to go out to the training field, you know, he'd shake himself down, he'd be out there, and he'd set a standard that, you know, it meant that no one else had an excuse. If, you know, if Roro can train like that, if he can bring that level of energy and enthusiasm and quality every day, he didn't let anyone else off the hook.
I'll bring in Radike Samo, because, and he could just be the same age he is now. I don't know what, and I imagine he'd still be unreal. That bloke, he's probably like 50 now, and he still runs around and he's still looking better, Nick, than half the blokes on the field as well. So I'll bring Radike Samo, and he can play back row or wing, I don't mind.
Probably guys who kind of just kind of in our early time in the Premiership came in and just did an incredible job for us. I mean, I remember we managed to sign Surrey Nakalavuki in our early time in the Premiership in a little bit of an odd way. You know, he became available in a summer, and it was at a time when Ali Heath, our backs coach, was actually on holiday with his wife, and I think part of their holiday they travelled through either New Zealand or Fiji or whatever. And I think he was supposed to be involved in a game over there, and Ali had arranged to try and catch up with him, and then he didn't turn up, and as typical Fijians didn't turn up for a game or something, and we ended up signing him, and he came in there 2 or 3 incredible seasons for us. And there were 2 or 3 games in really important seasons for us when we were trying to stay up, where he kind of kept us in the game. I just scoring tries out of nowhere, almost like he just said, right, I better win this game now. There's 10 minutes left. And so, you know, guys like that, and he was a real character as well, as anybody who knows him would tell you. So I think those are the guys you kind of have a fondness for. But if you talk about the real workhorses we had through the side, obviously my brother Richard he's still the guy who's played the most league games for us ever. You can't not want people like that around. Tommy Hayes captained the team in our early time in the Premiership, did a fantastic job for us. So, past players, Stino's only just gone, a year ago. He did a pretty good job for us. So we've probably got numerous guys here who at Exeter who we'd probably like to see carrying on forever, because they did such an incredible job for us for over a few very important years.
Not out of retirement because he's still playing, but I'd bring Jack Lamb back about 9 years when he was 26.
Tell us why.
I lived with him when he signed for Bristol from the Hurricanes, and he was their player of the season over there. He was just mint. He was just class for Bristol, obviously in the Championship. But I'm just very good friends with him. Never really got to see the best out of each other in terms of playing on the pitch with each other, anyway. So I'd say I'm probably going to be in my prime sooner or later. So I'd like to play my best rugby with Jack.